it's a very exciting moment for me. I've been involved with this project vicariously for over 15 years and worked for the National Museum of the American Indian. At the time, we wrote and signed a loan agreement to loan items from the Smithsonian to the project. And now it's a little bit ironic to be the executive director of the Cultural Center and then receiving objects through the Smithsonian for loan when we open from an agreement that I wrote years ago. Well, first of all, I am American Indian. I'm an enrolled member of the Kaw Nation of Oklahoma, and I'm also Muscogee Creek. I've got a little bit of Chickasaw blood as well. And I lived in Oklahoma over 20 years ago. I helped the Kaw Nation start its tribal museum back in the mid-90s. And then I went off to the Smithsonian to help build the National Museum of the American Indian. Was there for 10 years, helped move the collections from New York to the facility in Suitland, Maryland, and then helped with the construction and the opening of the National Museum of the American Indian on the National Mall in DC. And then from there I went on to other projects. I worked for the Anchorage Museum in Anchorage, Alaska as their executive director, worked on a $110 million expansion of that facility, another about 80,000 square feet. And then from there I went on to one of the nation's great American Indian museums, the Heard Museum in Phoenix, Arizona. Was executive director there for a few years and helped evolve that organization. And then had a chance to come back to Oklahoma, to the Gilcrease Museum in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Gilcrease is one of the great American museums, and helped them with a campaign to secure funding for a major expansion of Gilcrease Museum, $65 million to upgrade that facility. And then had the opportunity to come here to the Cultural Center, again a project that I've been looking at for many years vicariously, and now to be the executive director of this organization is very exciting for me, and helping get the facility up and running. And we saw a little video earlier today talking about the mission of this organization, and there is a strong educational component, not just for our citizens here in Oklahoma, the 39 tribes that are here, rich cultural heritage, but a lot of people in our own state don't know much about the tribes in Oklahoma. So this will serve as an educational resource for greater Oklahoma, but also we have an opportunity to educate the rest of the world about the tribes here in Oklahoma. And the fact that this facility is located at what we call the crossroads of America, the intersections of Interstate 35, Interstate 40, and Interstate 44, it's a perfect location right in the middle of America to educate the rest of our country and visitors from around the world about the rich cultures of our tribes right here in Oklahoma. The nonprofit world is a challenge to begin with. Anybody's worked for nonprofits, and to raise money, in this particular case, it's a combination of public and private dollars that are helping to get this organization off the ground and get the facility built. So in my experience, I've worked with very similar projects where there's a private entity that helps manage a public facility, and that's going to be the case here. So having that experience, bringing that here, I think will help the project. And then working on construction projects and expansion projects, and coming in the middle of this one, I think there's some opportunity now that, again, the designs are over 10 years old now. The facility and technology's changed. The way we think about cultural centers and heritage centers have changed a little bit. So there may be some opportunity to have a little bit of influence on tweaking the design slightly without affecting the budget too much, and then getting things up and operational. And I certainly have experience running organizations and building organizations, and glad that it's worked out this way, that coming back after 20-some years back to Oklahoma and bringing all of that experience that I've gained over the years and putting it to use for this facility. So I think that's a great opportunity, not only for me, but I think I'll be able to help get this Cultural Center up and running here in the next few years. This institution right now, in its mission, is not a collecting institution. So we're borrowing collections from other organizations and individuals and tribes. But but we've already been approached by people who want to give collections to the museum. So as we get into operational mode, we're going to develop a collecting plan and hopefully work with other organizations. The State Historical Society is just down the road, and we don't have a collections manager at this time, but we may be able to collaborate with the State Historical Society in developing our collecting policies, and maybe they would be a temporary repository for some things that people would like to donate. But we know it's going to happen, and anytime you have a new facility, people get excited and they want to contribute. And we will develop a collecting plan, and what that collecting plan looks like, I think at least we will focus on the 39 tribes here in Oklahoma, but we may move beyond that. One thing I think that I can say for certain is that we probably will not be interested in collecting and housing archaeological items, and for a very important reason, because many archaeological sites are grave sites, and we don't want to endorse or promote the disturbing or the disruption of an eternal resting place. And that's, we are going to be a museum and cultural center of living culture. We need to respect the beliefs and the traditions of the tribes here in Oklahoma, and most tribes, including my own tribe, have very strong feelings about the disturbing of sacred places like graves. So we'll be focusing on the historic period, and then also contemporary art and artifacts. And I think one of the mandates that we will have here at the Culture Center when we're open is to support living Native artists and be able to promote contemporary Native art here at the Culture Center. This center has been coming for a long time. It's been an idea for well over 20 years, and the location that it's built at now, I think, is perfect. It's very accessible to anybody around the state and around the country, or around the world for that matter. But it's been a dream of many people for a couple generations now to see this come to fruition, and I'm glad to be here at this point in time. And you know, things happen for a reason. I believe that, and we've got great leadership for the institution here, and so maybe it's meant to be at this time, for it to happen now, and again, to be a resource not only for all the tribes here in Oklahoma, and a gathering place for all of the 39 tribes and people to exchange cultures with each other, but also to share that culture with the rest of the people of our state and our region and the country.